Marcus Reed, a geology graduate student conducting research in the remote American Southwest, notices something metallic glinting near a distant ridge. As he drives closer, his breath catches. Rising from the sand is the unmistakable silhouette of a large cargo airplane, half buried, weathered by what appears to be decades of desert wind. He approaches cautiously, expecting a crash site frozen in time. The fuselage door hangs partially open. He peers inside and freezes. The desert stretched endlessly in every direction, a vast ocean of sand and stone baking under the relentless sun. For Marcus Reed, a 26-year-old geology student, this had been home for the past 3 weeks. His days followed a predictable rhythm. Wake before dawn, collect rock samples, catalog mineral deposits, return to camp as the sun turned the horizon molten gold. Marcus had chosen this life knowing what it demanded. Field research meant sacrifice. No coffee shops, no weekend plans, no spontaneous conversations, just him, his notes, and the quiet hum of the desert. But as the days blurred together, he found himself missing the smallest things, the sound of laughter, the smell of fresh bread, even just hearing someone say his name. It was late afternoon when something caught his eye. A flash of light, brief and sharp, reflected from somewhere near a rocky ridge about a mile away. Probably debris from an old mining operation, he thought, but curiosity got the better of him. He fired up his pickup truck and began driving toward the ridge. As he drew closer, the shape began to resolve itself. It wasn't mining equipment. It was something far larger, far stranger. Rising from the sand like a relic from another world was an airplane. Marcus stopped the truck and stepped out slowly. The aircraft was massive, a cargo plane, its wings half swallowed by drifts of sand, its metal skin bleached and battered by what looked like decades of exposure. The fuselage tilted slightly to one side, as if it had come down hard and simply never moved again. It looked like a crash site, a tragedy frozen in time. His pulse quickened. He had heard stories of lost flights, planes that vanished over remote terrain and were never recovered. Could this be one of them? His hand instinctively reached for his phone, but out here, there was no signal. He approached on foot, his boots sinking slightly into the soft sand. The plane's exterior was weathered but not destroyed. No signs of fire, no visible structural damage, just age and the slow erosion of wind and sun. The fuselage door hung partially open, creaking softly in the breeze. Marcus hesitated, then stepped forward and peered inside. What he saw made him freeze. The interior of the aircraft had been completely transformed. The cold industrial shell he expected was gone. In its place was something impossibly out of context. A cozy, warmly lit space that felt more like a neighborhood diner. Vintage airplane seats had been reupholstered in soft leather and arranged into intimate booths. A polished wooden counter ran along one wall, behind which sat a functioning coffee machine, a small grill, and a humming refrigerator. Fairy lights dangled from overhead compartments, casting a gentle glow. The air smelled faintly of coffee and cinnamon. And standing behind the counter, wearing a clean apron, was an elderly man with white hair and kind eyes. He looked up and smiled as if Marcus had just walked into a cafe on Main Street. The man greeted him warmly and introduced himself as Harold Webb, a retired pilot. He poured Marcus a cup of coffee and invited him to sit. Still stunned, Marcus slid into one of the booths. Harold explained that he had flown cargo routes for 40 years, seeing the world from 30,000 feet. After his wife Eleanor passed away 8 years ago, the house felt too empty, too quiet. Eleanor used to joke that Harold spent his whole life going to interesting places, but never stayed anywhere long enough to have lunch. So Harold decided to build the most interesting lunch spot he could imagine, somewhere no one would find unless they were meant to. Harold had purchased the decommissioned cargo plane at a military surplus auction. It took him 3 years to transport it piece by piece to this remote location and reassemble it. He deliberately weathered the exterior, making it look like a wreck that had been there for decades. The goal was simple: blend in, become part of the desert, disappear from the world's radar. He didn't advertise, no phone number, no sign. If someone found this place, it was because they were supposed to. He served whoever showed up, cooked whatever felt right, and they talked. That was it. Harold reached under the counter and pulled out a weathered logbook, its pages thick with signatures. Marcus flipped through it slowly, reading entries from hikers, lost tourists, a traveling astronomer who wrote about crying at the beauty of the place, and a young couple who got engaged in booth 3. Harold disappeared into the small galley and began cooking. The smell of butter and bread filled the air. Marcus sipped his coffee and let himself relax for the first time in weeks. The loneliness that had been gnawing at him seemed to ease. Harold returned with a grilled cheese sandwich, golden and perfect, paired with tomato soup. Marcus took a bite and closed his eyes. It was the best thing he had tasted in months. They talked for hours. Marcus told Harold about his research, about the isolation. Harold shared stories from his flying days and showed Marcus the cockpit, now converted into a reading nook filled with Eleanor's favorite novels. Before Marcus left, Harold handed him the logbook. Marcus picked up a pen and paused. Under the question asking how he found the place, he wrote, "I was searching for rocks. I found something far more valuable." As Marcus drove away, the plane growing smaller in his rearview mirror, he felt something shift inside him. The desert no longer seemed so empty. The silence no longer felt so heavy. Harold Webb had lost the love of his life, but instead of retreating from the world, he created a space where strangers could feel less alone. He built a restaurant no one was supposed to find, in a place no one was supposed to go, and filled it with kindness. Marcus never told anyone the exact coordinates. Some places, he realized, were meant to stay hidden, not because they were secret, but because they were sacred. Sometimes the most valuable discoveries aren't the ones you were looking for. Sometimes they're the ones that find you when you need them most.